So guys, in today's video we're gonna be talking about how to calibrate the TV in the title of the video and how to make this TV go from looking absolutely shit to absolutely amazing. It's going to look a little different on camera, keep that in mind from how it looks in real life, but when you're done with these calibrated settings, you're basically just gonna be copying my settings, because I've made the image look incredible. So here's the thing, right? When you're calibrating a screen, you have to care about a lot of things. Gamma, contrast, sharpness, colors, and HDR, of course. It's not that important to care about HDR because it's not that good in gaming. But I'm gonna explain it in a simpler way so that you can travel your way through it. And let's go right in to the first most important settings on your TV. So here is the controller, very sexy boy. You're gonna click down here in the corner on the plus, and you're gonna go to all settings. You're gonna travel down to general settings. You're gonna go to HDMI Ultra HD, and on this TV model, if you're using surround sound via the optical port, you want to pick the HDMI 2 on the back. HDMI 2 has eARC, which has higher bandwidth when it comes to audio transfer rates, so it's gonna sound way better. Use that one. Okay, then we're gonna go into this setting, go to the right and pick Optimal Auto Game. This will ensure that ALLM and VRR works perfectly fine on your TV. Now, the second thing is only for you guys that are using surround sound speakers, like the Logitech C906, like I am, the 5.1 version. Then you're going to click settings again, exact same thing, but we're gonna go to sound. Then we're gonna, oh sorry, that was confusing. We're gonna go from sound, and then to the right, go down to advanced, go to audio out to HDMI sound system. It will then be stripping the sound from the eARC port on the back, the HDMI port, to your sound system via the optical cable. So it's not that special, it's pretty simple. Then you're gonna go to eARC and make sure it's on automatic. It should be on automatic, but check it. Then go down to Dolby out format, go to the right and make sure it's not on stereo, make sure it's on multi-channel bypass, ensuring the highest quality surround sound. If it's not on bypass, the decoded audio from the games with the special sound effects in surround sound and all of that, and the directional audio won't be completely surround because it has to be decoded from the game to the console through the optical cable with the eARC port or the ARC port, depending on what you use, to the sound system. And if you know that it works correctly or not, it should be lit on the decode button right there. If it's lit there on the stereo 3D, that means you're not running full surround. And I have another video on that you should check out if that's the case. So here is the next step. In this step, we're going to be using a YouTube video that's called Black Clipping 4K UHD HDR10 calibration, but we're not using any HDR in this video because we're going to be calibrating SDR first. And just copy over the settings to the HDR settings and you should be fine. So to get this perfect black level here, and what this means in particular is that this is reference black. That means the blackest point of the video games or the TV shows, the 64 slide here. And when we turn this on, it should be blinking. Totally normal, but we're gonna pause it on when it has come to this point right here. So if you see, we can see this is basically brightness, guys. So this is 10% of the peak brightness of the display. So not very bright. This looks gray on my display, and we're gonna fix that because it's looking kind of bluish to magenta to pinkish on your display, and we're gonna fix that. So the most important thing here is that we can see 0.5% very so slightly, and that 64 is not lit at all. That is perfect black levels. That is very important, and also that the gradients from 10% or 10.5 right there goes all the way and becomes darker and darker and darker. In reality, my screen looks more like this. It doesn't look that bright with the backlighting. Well, it looks bright, but it doesn't look that blue. It looks like that almost. Okay, so yeah, but I elevated the exposure so that you can see what I'm talking about. So that is perfect. Make sure to get it to that point. And how we're gonna do that is we're gonna go into settings, almost forgot about this, and then travel down to black level and make sure that this is on 55. If you dial it one more step down, 68 is almost gone, and then one more step again, and now it's gone. Now we're down to 52, so that's three steps down. 55 is perfect. It's gonna look amazing in your games. Over to the most simple things that you should be doing. Make sure to dial all of these settings on picture and picture style to game. It's important that you use game and none of these other ones when you have your PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X or gaming console in general plugged in, because game has super duper low latency, guys. Like we're talking 0.6 milliseconds of true motion clarity on this screen. It's absolutely insane. Zero ghosting. So very, very cool, but we have to use game preset for this. So that's the preset we're going to be changing all the settings. So 100 on colors looks amazing, guys. That's what I recommend, but you can do whatever you want to. Backlight contrast needs to be on 100 for the screen to look really bright and really good with the contrast ratio. If you dial this down, it will start to look more muddy and not as good. Sharpness, I do recommend you to have this on 2 if you sit close, but if you are like, let's say you're 2 meters or more away from the sofa, I'm like 1/2 meter away, then you should be using 6. I think that looks the best. It's 6 or it's 2. Don't go above 6 because you can get the sharpness artifacts on screen and you don't want that. The contrast will look weird. So 6 is the peak, or 2, or maybe 0 if you do prefer no sharpness at all. As I said before, black level 55, very good. Go into advanced, picture clean, make sure to turn off these to minimize latency. Then on sharpness, I leave the ultra resolution sharpness tool to on. I didn't see much difference, but when I did see the difference, it was just that the like textures and stuff on surfaces looked a little bit more clear when the resolution was way below 4K in the game. So that's a recommended feature to have on. It adds 0 artifacts from what I've seen, so use that one. Then we're gonna go to color. And color enhancement, I leave that to minimum, and I'm gonna show you that why later on in this video, but for now leave it on minimum or boost it up to maximum if you really feel like you don't have enough color. Color gamut can make reds look way better, and magenta will pop out of the image way more, and there is no color bleed on this option, so use wide. On YouTube you might get color bleed sometimes and in some games, but it's not because of the wide, it's because of color and color enhancement being intertwined and boosted too much. So it's up for you what you want to use, but to even be able to look at real red from this TV, this has to be on wide. Or else it's going to be, the red hue is going to be more orange. So wide, and then on color temperature, we're gonna go to warm. And on the white point alignment, here's where it becomes easy, but it's hard if you don't know what I'm doing. So on 2 point, we're gonna have 127, 107, and 85. And then you want to go all the way to blue BL, which is blue black level adjuster, and dial this down all the way from 0 to -7. I'm gonna show you in the end of the video why we do that. And on 20 point, on all of these points here, these are like preset points. So 1, you're gonna do +15, -8, -15. Do that on all of the 20 points. It's gonna take some time to do it, but it's very important to get the picture looking as perfect as possible, and it's worth it, guys. I promise it's worth it. So that's the white point alignment, that's D65. Then we have color, and I think we're almost done here. So the very last page, the contrast one, is the most important one here, except for all of the colors and stuff and sharpness. So contrast mode off, HDR upscaling on, dynamic contrast off. You get a lot of color bleed or else, so leave it off. If you're one of those people that go into settings all the time to tweak stuff because you think stuff can look maybe a little better in some games, then yes, you can sometimes use this. But in general, it looks better with this off. Video contrast has to be on 100. Don't limit this, that's stupid. You'll be making your screen look way more dull and more cheap. This is the full contrast ratio of your screen. And the other setting was the perception of the contrast. So use this to 100 and you're fine. A light sensor, use that off. It's like an echo mode. And then we have gamma slider, guys. And this will be on either -2 or 0, depending if you have the European model. You should just pick 4 on this to make the image look fluent and perfect with the gamma here. It's important so that stuff doesn't look too weird. So 4, in my opinion, looks amazing. It's basically the fade from darkest to mid-light to brightest on your screen. Very important that that fade is very smooth and very gradual. It cannot be like boom to boom to boom. It needs to be like fading in between the brightest to the mid to the blackest, you know? You know what I'm saying? Important. Okay, so we're in here on a very good calibration video on YouTube. And here is the most important shot of the ages, guys. This is without the calibrations turned on. All of these settings that we just did, I've turned them off in another preset just to show you how the screen looked before them, basically, so that we can get the before and after shot here. And this is going to be hard to show on camera because it's a phone camera, but we're going to turn off ambient light here. We are going to hold down on the exposure. I think that looks kind of accurate. It looks way better on camera, honestly, than how it looks in real life. So yeah, okay, we're gonna have to do it like this, sorry. So there we go. That's how the image looks after. It doesn't look that vibrant on my TV. I don't know why it looks like that. I'm kind of disappointed of how the phone made it look. It looks really weird. The sun is not even close to that yellow, and the colors aren't even close to that bright. But I'm sure it's gonna look great on your guys' display. So basically, guys, why it looks so good and why the separation in the image is this good, it's because of this right here. So it used to look like this, and this is only the color temperature, and bringing it to that D65 white point, which I have calibrated to check that is correct on my PC, that just looks so much better. Like the separation in the image is amazing, guys. It's not even a comparison. This is a very good way to show you what I just meant. So this is normal white, what is it called? Sorry, guys. This is normal color temperature on this screen. And when we bring it to our preset, the D65 white point, it looks like this. Holy shit, guys. Like, that is absolutely insane. That's just the color balance, guys. What am I doing? Holy shit. I'm fucking up the controller. I dropped the controller. Wait. I can fix this. I can fix this. Oh, it's not as good of a shot. Maybe we can do it anyways. Yeah, it's kind of obvious there too, but not as obvious. This movie basically has too much blue, and most games have too much blue. And it's important that the color temperature is correct so that your movies don't look wrong. And games, of course, guys. So this is the game preset, and this is the preset where we don't have any settings set. It looks kind of like this. That kind of looks correct with the exposure. And then we have our corrected settings, which I have actually to elevate the exposure for you to see kind of how it looks, almost like that. You guys should now have a perfectly calibrated TV when gaming and when watching movies and stuff, and make sure to copy all of these settings into the Dolby Vision preset, which only comes on when you're watching Dolby Vision content, and make sure to copy it to the HDR game preset that only comes on when you're using HDR. We have one more thing to fix before this is completely done, and this is a kind of a hit or miss thing to do, but HDR, I don't actually recommend a lot of you to use it. If you want a brighter and more vibrant screen in some games, because it doesn't look good in all games. It only looks good in like 35% of games. Like Horizon Forbidden West, it looks insane on this TV. And in Resident Evil 4 Remastered, it looks really bad. It looks broken as hell, as heck. Sorry, guys. And I think it is because of the developers. I've heard some people saying that it looks broken. So maybe it's a TV thing that this TV unit cannot show Rec 2020 properly because it shows only BT 2020, and I don't know the differences between those two, but it might be a scaling issue of how it shows blacks maybe, and that's why it looks like we have elevated blacks and all of that. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. The very last part will be in the last here in the ending, but thank you guys for watching, and hope you guys enjoyed these settings. You guys remember that black point adjuster video that we checked out on YouTube, where we saw all of the black and gray tiles that were blinking, and then we paused the video so that they weren't blinking. When we previewed that video in its native format in HDR, we actually get black clipping on the two lowest bars. This is how to fix so that doesn't happen in the PS5 HDR games. And also like how to calibrate your HDR on your PS5. So you're gonna go to HDR, click this and have it on always on, go to adjust HDR. We're gonna turn off YouTube here, and on this first slab here we're just gonna hold D-pad up and max this out. Then we're gonna hold D-pad up and max that out, and then on the blacks we're gonna go all the way down to the lowest point and drag it up 2 steps, because then we can see the sun, but not from directly in front. That means that we're no longer getting any black little crush, but we still see pure blacks in HDR. The very last thing of the video, make sure that the resolution here is set to automatic. Make sure that VRR is set to automatic, and apply when on unsupported games to force it. It works fine. 120 output should be on automatic. LLM should be on automatic. Go down to HDR, always on. Only when you want to play HDR games. Otherwise, you're going to click on it and click off. I recommend you to not use it at all. But if you want to use it, then have it on. I can make another video on only HDR if you guys want to on this TV. Deep color output should be automatic, and RGB space should be automatic. And when you go all the way up here, it should show you that it's in 4K 60 Hz. I'm gonna zoom in, sorry. And RGB 2.3 HDCP. But something else you can check out on this screen, if you go to the left here and you go to screen, you can check the adjust screen here and make sure to hold the D-pad up so that it fills the whole screen if it didn't fill the whole screen. It should do that by itself, but just make sure that it doesn't do anything weird there. There is one last quirk to do, and it might not be as easy as you would want it to be, but you're gonna be in on your PS5 on the correct HDMI. You're gonna switch to HDMI Ultra HD. You're gonna turn this off to standard. Then you're gonna go to picture. You have to go back, sorry. The screen is gonna become very small. Then you're gonna go in here to the presets. I'm gonna dial down the brightness and go to picture format and go from widescreen, which is default, and pick original, so you get no screen scaling. So it will look amazing in HDR. You will probably not see, sorry, not in HDR. It will just look sharper. That's what I meant. You'll probably not see a big difference, but it's important that it's on original. And then from there, go into advanced, picture clean. And now you can turn off these ones if they are locked. And now go back down to general settings, go to Ultra HDMI and pick optimal auto game again, and then click yes. Go back all of the way with this back button here. You probably already knew that. I don't have to show that in the end of the video. So thank you guys for watching. That is how you calibrate your Philips Ambilight TV to make it look exceptionally awesome.